physical with Liddell?
No.
Okay. So you up and down?
Stan was wide awake because Stan was playing his video game and we just brought him coffee.
Okay. So Stan is awake, but when you finally go to bed, do you know what time it is? Okay. Was the TV on? Okay. The room was black or dark?
It's just
dark.
the TV.
Okay. You wake up, he's raping you. Hands are on your neck.
He likes that. He likes it because he can hold right here.
On it. Okay.
And he can push me down and he can get further up.
So he pushes down with the ball right here then?
He pushes down like this.
Okay.
So he does.
Both hands usually?
No, the other one's always up on top, so he can pinch right here.
And why does he pinch here?
He pinches here, and it makes it so I can't swallow, and then I get really, I go really dizzy really fast when he pushes it here. When I can't swallow, I can't make noise either, and I can't think.
Okay. So tell me what happens. Does he ejaculate?
No, he took a little bit on the bed, and the rest of it he was holding in his hand. And I was crying. Instant tension. And I went cleaned up everything on my side of the bed. Because I had gotten up and I had a baby wipe and cleaned myself.
You had a baby wipe and cleaned yourself up?
And in my bathroom was like a little white
Trash can?
can.
Okay. So you basically, you wiped down your vagina and stuff to clean up and you threw it in the waste can in the bathroom? Okay. Came out of the bathroom and he's now on your side of the bed? Is he laying on his back? Which side?
Facing the computer. His back was to
Okay, so he's got his back to the closet and he's facing towards the computer. So Stan didn't have any, Stan was in the room.
not until after I already hit him.
So how many times do you think he had him?
I just never wanted to touch him. I don't know. Touched me, and I wanted him to know what it felt like. I didn't really think about it though. I really didn't put any effort in.
He came out of the room and saw the hammer sitting there and grabbed it and walked over. And it just hit him for every time that he abused you or did what he did to you and hurt you. And then you went and get Stan? Or did Stan
And
here?
he No, he didn't.
Okay, he
It hurt me.
Okay. What did you yell before? Because you said you yelled sometime. Do you remember what you yelled? No.
He said, you don't know me. I mean, that.
You don't know me?
And then you don't know me. I really put a hand in it. And I just kept hitting him. And Stan took it away from me.
So Stan came in when you were still hitting Dale? Okay. Is that how you broke your nail then, you think? That was from hanging the picture? Okay. Okay.
For me, actually hit my own. Because I couldn't hit it with my right hand because my hand needed to be strong enough to hold the picture because I was having trouble balancing it.
So Stan came in behind you and he took the hammer. Did he take the hammer away from you?
He stopped me because I had stopped like that.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah. And Stan grabbed his hammer and took it from me.
And put it down on the... Okay. Tired of it. So is that the bruises on your inner thigh? Was that from tonight? Was that from when he was on top of you and sexually assaulted you? Do you remember how you got him?
He was pressing.
With his fingers to open you?
And then his hips hit me. When I tried to kick him off, I pulled up and it didn't help. It didn't help.
When you woke up and he was on top of you and raping you, did you try to yell?
I couldn't yell at that time.
Did you try to get him off of you so that he had injuries on him?
I scratched him and I bit him and
Okay.
I did everything I said I did when I woke up. I just didn't do it because of him.
Okay. So you scratched and bit at him and try and get him off of you. And who called? Did you go and call the police out in the family room, or did you? Okay. You
I called him in the bedroom too.
Okay.
Stan was trying to keep me out of the bedroom because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do.
Did he go over to Dale to check on it? Okay. Were you in the room, or
He went over to Dale to check on him, and I went over to the other side, and
did he say anything to Dale?
he asked Dale if you're all right, and Dale actually said bitch, and I pushed him off the bed.
That's how he got on the floor? So after you hit him with the hammer,
I didn't mean to push him on the floor. I was trying to fix his neck.
how was his neck?
Because of the way he was laying and the way his face was, I was trying to turn him so he could lay on his back. But everybody had to look.
And then he called you a bitch?
It sounded like bitch. He recognized me.
Mm-hmm. And you pushed him off the bed at
I
that
didn't
point?
mean to push him. It was me trying to turn him over. It wasn't like I shoved him.
So were you over on the side of the bed by the closet then?
No, I was on the other side. I climbed up onto the other
I got
side,
you.
and I was
So you
trying
were
to
there.
turn him over because I didn't want to have to look at what I had done.
He had no, if anything, he took the hammer away. So if we find fingerprints and the blood that we found on him would be...
Because he pulled me away from...
Okay. You don't remember what?
I don't remember making a mental decision to do that. It's not like I walked out of the bathroom and said, I'm going to hit his head with a hammer. I just remember walking by and...
Was the light on when you came out of the bathroom? Okay. But you had put the hammer down there because...
I knew where the hammer was. It had been there from hanging the picture, but you could see with the TV on it. It wasn't until I got to the computer desk area, I was going to go grab my blueberry drink that was on the nightstand. And then I was going to go grab my pants and get them on to go away. And it didn't happen.
How did your shirt get ripped? Do you know?
When I tried to turn him, he grabbed my shirt and let go of the bed because it was such a long stretch and I wasn't going to go with it. I was trying to turn him and he was sliding and he had my shirt and it ripped down where there was a little hole in it from...
Oh, so there was a prior hole?
And he just happened to catch it and it was totally coincidence.
So it just had a tiny hole and when his finger caught it, it ripped it, and that's why it sliced maybe that way rather than... Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to spend my life in jail and I don't want my girls to not have a mom. But I didn't want to let you know what happened. I just don't want them to see. God is what's right anymore. For a second, do exactly what I'm doing. And they're going to go for things. It's been such trash.
When we deal with a situation like this, we don't make a determination on self-defense or non-self-defense. There is a self-defense statute that applies to cases like this, but the county attorney reviews it, and ultimately the county attorney looks at the entire picture. And that's what I was saying before about if we submit someone to the county attorney for self-defense and they realize the scene doesn't match up with the story, it can actually be worse for you. So, given everything I talked to Detective Morris, you kind of explained the whole situation as far as what you said, and that matches the scene. I'll be honest with you. We kind of had an idea. Okay. Okay. And the scene kind of showed that. Once we really got in and started digging into the scene, that's where we had the issues. And that's why I came out of fairness to you saying, hey, you need to know that it's just not quite matching up. What's going to happen from here is we call the county attorney's office. You're going to review the case. Detective Comrie told you, we have to take you to jail tonight. There is a process and you have to see a judge. The charge right now is going to be attempted homicide. Now, there's also that's where the justification comes in. There is self-defense justification for attempted homicide. We're not the people that make those decisions. right? That's well outside of our grasp. We will document what you say, just how you've explained the abuse to Detective Tamori. We document all that. That's her purpose of spending. I know it may not seem like it now, but the whole purpose of spending 5 hours in here, just unbelievably detailing every single thing you would tell us about the abuse. That's part of the reason we do that. All right, so you'll go down to 4th Avenue Jail tonight. You'll see a judge usually in the first 12 to 15 hours. It depends on how busy they are. So probably sometime early morning, maybe by 8 or 9 o'clock. You'll have what they call your initial appearance. And all the initial appearance is to look at the charge, and the judge will determine if you're a flight risk, and to set bond if he can release you on your own recognizance, if he's going to set a bond as far as where you actually have to pay money to get out of a security bond that you'll promise to appear later. And he'll also determine if you need counsel. Counsel on this could be an attorney. He'll give you the option of hiring your own attorney, or if you want to have one appointed to you, that's the time that they'll actually appoint you an attorney as well.
So the charges go through before they review the case?
The initial charge goes through. The county attorney's office actually came up to the scene with us, walked through the scene earlier today. When we keep them on the phone, we keep them updated on everything that goes through. The county attorney's office will get the case tomorrow. We'll look at everything. But the charge tonight to actually start the process, that's what the charge is. And that's what I'm saying. Things can change. It can change to an aggravated assault. It can change to a regular assault. There's so many different variables that can happen. I don't want to tell you one thing that haven't changed. So initially, that's what it goes down as, and then as it goes through the court process, and the attorneys get involved, there's all kinds of complications that can happen. Does that make sense? Okay. Did I lose any part or anything you want me to make sure I clarify? I understand just with the whole situation, it's a lot to sit there and take it. Detective Tamori, you explained everything with your mom and the kids tonight, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
Just I'm sure. Was that your mom that you were talking to? Do you want to kind of explain to her what's going on? Would you rather us explain it to her?
We'll give you a few minutes to call her. Give her a heads up to let her know, so she kind of knows the process. And she's got my phone number, and I'm sure she'll probably call me if she has any questions. Because with her being down here and being with the cell phone, if you're going to try to be calling from jail, you're not going to be able to get a hold of her because you need to call collect. You can't call collect on a cell phone. So,
To be honest with you, I think it'd make it worse. Just in my experience, because it's really difficult for the girls to grasp that, especially with their age. So I mean, you know what I mean? It's one thing for you not to be there and the girls to kind of find out what's going on. The other thing is, if I were you and it was my children, and I have 4 girls, so I'm just kind of blowing smoke here, I would wait before I really let my kids wrap their heads around what's going on until you have a better idea of how the charges are going to go. Does that make sense? Because like I said, we're filing the charge tonight. You're going to be booked in under attempted homicide. That can be modified. There's things that can be changed. I don't know that I would bring the girls down here explaining you're going to jail and why you're going to, especially the 13-year-old. If there's anything like my 13-year-old, they're going to want to know. I don't know that I would necessarily give them too much of that information right now, because things may change.
I have to be booked before I have the county attorney look at it and talk to an attorney.
Yeah, that's what starts the whole process. You can talk to an attorney anytime.
I should have asked for an attorney beforehand so that maybe I wouldn't have to go in court quick like this and wait and hope on somebody's good judgment that they can tell what's happening.
I would tell you whether you had an attorney or not, the process does not change right now.
Now,
Even previously, with what we've seen at the scene, don't know that it would have changed anything. Now, granted, it's taken us a long time. We're not going to be done with the house, but probably tomorrow night. We're actually coming back in the morning and starting at 8 o'clock with the house. There's just so much for us with the house. Whether you told us what you told us or not, I don't believe it's going to change anything in the long run as far as what happens tonight.
Realistically, Maureen can be a self-defense?
Realistically, in my mind, I believe that there are circumstances and details of this case that definitely changed the situation from somebody just going up and doing what happened to somebody out of the blue. Self-defense can, if I say mitigating, do you understand what that means? A self-defense statute can be a mitigating statute where you may not get completely off, but it can significantly reduce the end result. Does that make sense? So it may be charged the same, but because of some factors that can be considered through self-defense, where somebody who just cold-blooded, complete stranger, didn't know anybody, or didn't know this person, committed the same crime and had a history of crimes in the past, which you don't, they could be looking at a lot of time in prison. Where a domestic issue that's been brewing for years and years and years, I can't even tell you what the possible situations are, but there are different circumstances that are considered in all of that. And that's why it's kind of a lengthy process. There's actually more or less a board or a committee or review board at the county attorney's office that will look at all that and make the final charging decision. But they're aware that we're proceeding the way we are, and basically by us booking you, that's what starts the process there.
So basically, I need to kill him. Great.
I'm sure if you could go back and change things, you would. That's not what Detective Tamori and I are not sitting here telling you we think you're a cold-blooded killer who set out on this path to go take him out. That's not the impression we have. And I hope that's not the impression I'm leaving you, that that's what I think. It's very clear that you've been through a lot. That type of abuse affects people in different ways. I can't even sit here and say I would do the same thing or I would do the same thing. Never been in your shoes. I've never experienced that. I can't even tell you what I would do in that same situation. There were some good signs. Apparently, when he came out of surgery later this evening, they were able to give him verbal stimulus. Hey, can you move your left foot? Can you move your right foot? And he was able to move his feet. It's one of those processes that's going to take a while, to really see what the extent of his injuries are. I know they were scheduling another MRI to try to get a better feeling of what's going on. And it's one of those things that, it's hard to say what the injuries could be until a week or two. He's got some moves. I will tell you, just based on what I saw at the scene, he's lucky to be alive. It's a significant injury. So I'm saying he's moving his feet when he's being asked, but I don't want to sugarcoat it either and send you out here with the wrong impression. It's a very, very serious injury. I think, I don't know yet. It's too early to answer that.
If I told you outside, it's just going to be a day-by-day thing. A day-by-day thing with him.
It can change for the better or worse at any time, so that's where I don't want to sugarcoat it and put you with the wrong. One thing I will be straight up with you is we're not going to leave you straight. We're not going to tell you something and then you get out of here and find out it's the exact opposite. Everything we do technically is releasable. It's all public record. We have not had, to my knowledge, any media requests at this time. It's not something that we call up the news stations and say, hey, this is what we're working. But it's not uncommon for us to get regular routine requests for different types of cases. So at this point, we haven't gotten a request that they're getting ready to put it on a 10 o'clock news or anything like that. And it's funny how the media sometimes the media picks things that we're like, are you kidding us? That's what you're going to put on the news? Where in other cases, never hit the news at all. So that's, I guess my answer is it's completely out of our hands. We have no control over it. And I realize there's no good way for me to sit here and try to explain this stuff, but at the same point, I don't want you to go on from here. They're involved. There's already a county attorney signed the case. He probably won't be at the initial appearance, but he'll be forwarded the information that comes up from the initial appearance. We will start forwarding our reports as soon as we get them done to the county attorney's office. I would say we've got at least all day tomorrow, maybe a little bit longer still at the house. So obviously some of those reports are going to take us a while to get everything documented and sent up. Do you have any other family other than your mom? Brothers or sisters? Where does she live at?
Washington.
Is she married?
Yep.
What does she do?
She goes to school.
Have a husband?
He graduated with her tech.
Is he working? Are they doing pretty good? It's good to have everybody.
Brand new to have. She's just having her first baby. She's doing much.
Do you have a pretty good relationship with her?
She's stepsister.
Yeah, they don't have a good relationship.
Why do I need to find someone to take my kids for a long time?
I don't know. I don't know the relationship with your mom well enough. I don't know what her, obviously, you know, tonight your mom's with the kids. I don't know how long you'll be held. If you'll be released tomorrow, they'll post a bond that you can actually post, and there's a chance you're released tomorrow. That's somewhat limited the entire issue there. Those are some of the questions I can't answer just yet. We need to at least look at all of our options. What's your thoughts on that? Sure does. They're still your kids. Regardless of what happens today, or tomorrow, or next week, they're still your kids and you're still their mom. It absolutely matters. Well, just so you kind of, we do contact CPS. We have to involve CPS. I'm not saying we contact them, they're going to come remove your kids. If you're comfortable with them being with your mom right now, and all intents and purposes your mom has been to take them, CPS feels the same way you do. They don't want to take and put kids in the system. But at the same point, if you're in for a little bit longer before you're released, or if you're in until trial, there could be an extended period there that they need to look at. And we need to be able to at least present them with some options that you're in favor of, because they will take your consideration into account. You know, if you jump up and down and say, I don't want to put my kids, my mom's not, or I don't want my kids with my mom's not fit, they will look into that. So. Any other questions I can answer for you? Are you guys working?
Why don't you call mom back? Because when we get down to the, we went down, we went upstairs, we have to look at reception on your phone. So give you a few minutes to give her a call. And I'll come back in, give you some privacy with her. All right? Just kind of give her a heads up on what's going on. like I told you, Marissa, what I put in my report is everything that you and I talked about. There was not going to be any surprises. And that's why I spent so much time.
I mean, there's so much more than that.
In the document, I believe, that there's been a history of emotional and physical abuse that's been going on for 8 years. These are just a few of what we discussed. You know, that you've gone to the hospital several times, and then the rape, you know, that's been going on. Well, I'm going to document what I found on your archives. And that, you know, all of that, everything is going to go in the report. So let's just wait and see what's going to happen. Basically, take it one step at a time. One step at a time.